So, as we discussed in week 5 sessions about equity valuation multiples, these equity valuation multiples will focus on the value of equity. The enterprise valuation multiples will focus on the value of the enterprise. And this value of the enterprise is usually related to some measure of earnings, assets, or sales. And the commonly used multiples are EV to EBITDA multiple, EV to EBIT multiple, EV to free cash flow to the firm multiple, EV to book value multiple, and EV to sales multiple. Enterprise value is defined as the sum of the values of the firm's equity and interest-bearing debt. Enterprise value is a firm value, that is value of equity plus interest-bearing debt. And the market value of equity is simply the number of outstanding equity shares multiplied by number of times the price per share. As far as the interest-bearing debt is concerned, if it is in the form of traded debt securities, its market value can be easily observed. If the interest-bearing debt is in the form of loans, its market value has to be imputed or assumed. Generally, a rupee of loan is deemed to have a rupee of market value. So while considering EV to EBITDA multiple, from the fundamental point of view, EV to EBITDA is given by ROIC minus growth rate by ROIC into WACC minus growth rate into 1 minus depreciation and amortization into 1 minus tax rate. Analysts often consider EBITDA as a raw proxy for free cash flow to the firm. EBITDA, however, is not the same as the free cash flow to the firm, and it is instructive to compare the two. That is, free cash flow to the firm is given by EBITDA minus T into EBIT minus capex minus net working capital, and from this equation it is clear that free cash flow to the firm tends to be more volatile. Why? Because free cash flow to the firm takes into account new outlays on capital in equipment and net working capital that are subject to variation. They rise in good times and contract in bad times. Thus, in years when large investments are made, EBITDA significantly exceeds the free cash flow. Although EBITDA is a very unreliable proxy for free cash flow to the firm, EBITDA multiples are more commonly used. Why? Because EBITDA provides a fairly good measure of pre-tax cash flows produced by the existing assets of the firm. So, when most of the value of the firm comes from existing assets, as in the case of stable, mature organizations, EBITDA multiples make a lot of sense. Secondly, EBITDA is much more stable compared to free cash flow to firm, because the free cash flow to firm, apart from being highly volatile, is likely to be a negative when the firm is growing rapidly. Now, When we take a PV to EBIT multiple, it is defined as enterprise value to earnings before interest and taxes. That is, earnings before interest and taxes is the earnings from operating assets prior to taxes, and from the fundamental point of view, the EV to EBIT is given by 1 minus T into 1 minus reinvestment rate by WACC minus G, where T is the tax rate, WACC is the weighted average cost of capital, and G is the growth rate. EV to free cash flow to the firm multiple is defined as enterprise value to free cash flow to the firm, and from the fundamental point of view, EV to free cash flow to the firm is given by 1 by WACC minus G, and EV to book value multiple, which is defined as enterprise value to book value of assets, and from the fundamental point of view, EV to book value is given by ROIC minus G by WACC minus G. So EV to sales multiple is defined as enterprise value to sales, and from the fundamental point of view, EV to sales is nothing but after-tax operating margin into 1 plus G into 1 minus reinvestment rate by WACC minus G. Using different multiples will give different results, and the choice of multiple is based on the company cash flows, company sales, company book value, and so on. Operational multiples. Operational multiple is the enterprise value which expresses the enterprise value in relation to a specific operational variable that is a key driver of revenue or cash flow. So some of the examples of operational multiples from different industries are: for an energy-related industry, the operational multiple is EV to kilowatts per hour production capacity. For hotels, it is EV to number of rooms. For media, it is EV to number of subscribers. And for telecommunications, it is EV to number of subscribers. And from the fundamental point of view, the general formula for an operational multiple is EV per unit is equal to ROIC minus G by ROIC into WACC minus G into NOPLAT by number of units. So now coming to the multiple, since different multiples produce different values, the choice of multiple will make a big difference for your value estimate. Now the question is, which multiple to use? You can adopt a multiple that reflects your bias, so which is called as the cynical view, or you can use all the multiples, which is called as the Blackstone view, or pick up the best multiple. As Ashwath Damodaran argues, you can adopt any of the multiples, so based on your biases, or you can choose all the multiples, or you can pick up the best multiple that suits your company. So what is cynical view? When you choose a multiple, it serves a preconceived notion. If you want to sell or buy a business, choose the multiple that gives the highest or lowest value, and this may appear like manipulation and not an analysis, but it seems to be fairly common practice. Even if you do not have such intentions, you should learn how to guard yourself against its consequences. You delegate the task of valuation to an analyst who has a natural tendency to follow his biases. You should approve what the multiple and the comparison comparable firms should be using. Secondly, when you examine a relative valuation report, ask what would be the value if some other multiple or some other comparables were used. You can use all the multiples, which is known as the Budgeon view. When you value a company using a number of multiples, and you can arrive at a final recommendation once you use all the different multiples. There are different ways of doing this. You can arrive at a range of values generated by various multiples, but the problem here is that the range is likely to be too wide to use for decision making. You can calculate a simple average of various values that is being arrived using different multiples, and the advantage of this approach is its simplicity. That is, you are taking just a simple average of all the multiples and arriving at a value of a form. But it assigns equal weight to the values from each multiple, even though some multiples may be more appropriate than others. So the third, you can calculate a weighted average, that is, the weight assigned to each value that reflects its relative position. When you are using all the multiples, these are the different ways how you can arrive at the value of an enterprise. And choose the best multiple is another approach of making the choice of a multiple. Although you may not like to discard any information, the best estimate of value is obtained by using the one multiple that is most appropriate for the firm that is being valued. There are three ways to find the best multiple. The fundamental approach suggests that we should use the variable which has the highest correlation with the firm's value. For example, there is a high degree of correlation between current earnings and value in consumer product companies, but not in cyclical companies. So price earnings multiple are suited for the former company but not the latter. That is, price to earnings approach is used or can be used for the consumer product companies, and it cannot be used in cyclical companies. Statistical approach, which calls for replacing each multiple against the fundamentals that theoretically affect the value and using the multiple with the highest R squared. The conventional approach, which involves using the multiple that has become the most commonly used one for a specific situation or sector. Some suggestions while using conventional approach are: the PE multiple is more appropriate for the firms that have a proven track record of positive earnings and which doesn't have significant non-cash expenses. The PEG multiple, that is, price to earnings to rate multiple, is more suitable for firms which have stable EPS growth rates and risk characteristics are stable. The PB multiple is more appropriate for firms whose balance sheets reflect reasonably well the market value of their assets. Examples: banks and financial institutions can make use of PB multiples. EV to EBITDA multiple is more suitable for firms that have substantial non-cash expenses, that is, depreciation and amortization are substantial. That is, capital-intensive firms like airlines, telecom operators, refineries can go with EV to EBITDA multiple. The EV to free cash flow to the firm multiple is more appropriate for firms that have stable growth and that have predictable capital expenditures. EV to sales multiples can be used for any firms that have not yet established positive earnings. So now the question is the best practices using multiples. A judicious use of multiples can provide valuable insights, whereas an unthinking application of multiples can result in confusion and distortion. So, keep in mind some best practices with respect to the multiples, like define multiples consistently, choose comparables with similar profitability and growth prospectus, identify the fundamental determinants, use multiples that use forward-looking estimates, prefer enterprise value multiples. Make sure that the multiple is defined consistently and measured uniformly across the firms being compared. The key drivers of valuation multiples are growth and profitability prospectus. As far as possible, the comparables whose multiples are used as benchmarks must have growth and profitability prospects that are similar to the target firm, that is, the firm which is under valuation. Of course, since it is not possible to find truly comparable firms, you will have to adjust for differences between firms and fundamental characteristics. You should identify the fundamental determinants which determine each multiple and how variations in these fundamentals bear on the value of multiple. Multiple should be based on projected, not historical profits or cash flows. Since a company's value is equal to the present value of its future cash flow, forward-looking multiples are consistent with the theory of valuation. Even the empirical evidences suggest that forward-looking multiples are better predictors of value. The price-earnings multiple, despite its popularity, has two shortcomings. The price-earning multiple is affected by capital structure, and the net profit figure is calculated after non-operating gains and losses. Thus, a non-operating gain arising out of sale of assets can significantly increase earnings, causing price-earnings multiple to be artificially low. In order to overcome the limitation of price-earnings multiple, it makes more sense to use a forward-looking EBITDA-based enterprise value multiples. We also discuss about the assessment of relative valuation. Though theoretically discounted cash flow valuation is emphasized, in practice most assets are valued on a relative basis. Investment rules of thumb are typically stated in terms of multiples. For example, a stock is considered cheap if its price-earnings multiple is less than the expected growth rate in earnings per share of its price-to-book value multiple is less than 1. Equity research reports are generally based on multiples like enterprise value to EBITDA multiple, price to earnings multiple, price to book multiple, and price to sales multiple. Even when discounted cash flow analysis is included, the recommendations are usually based on valuation multiples. While discounted cash flow valuation is commonly done as a part of acquisition analysis, the value paid is usually determined or justified in terms of some multiples, and hence, though theoretically discounted cash flow is gaining popularity, but in practice relative valuation is of much use. Notwithstanding its popularity, relative valuation suffers from certain weaknesses. That is, it provides the analyst greater scope for valuation. The multiples used in relative valuation reflect the valuation errors. that is, overvaluation or undervaluation of the market is reflected in the valuations when multiples are used. Otherwise, relative valuation is the most approach popular approach that is being used in practice by the valuation analysts. Also, day 5 of this week, we also will discuss the various other issues that are involved in valuing a firm which cannot be kept aside while valuing the firms. Like when we apply the basic principles and techniques of corporate valuation to different kinds of companies, we have to take into consideration their idiosyncratic characteristics. For example, a multi-business company has certain characteristics which makes it more difficult to value than a single business company. Likewise, valuing a financial institution presents very different issues compared to those faced while valuing a manufacturing company. Apart from nature of operations of the company, the context in which valuation is done is also very important. For example, valuing in emerging markets presents its own challenges because emerging economies are characterized with high macroeconomic volatility, considerable volatility in exchange rates, inflation, interest rates, control over capital flows, and also the lack disclosure norms with respect to taxes. Likewise, valuation of a private company tends in some ways to be more difficult than valuation of a public company. So, in chapter 4, in module 4, I will be highlighting on the unique issues that arises while valuing companies of different kinds and valuing companies in different contexts, and also suggestions how these issues can be handled, and we also will discuss upon certain loose ends of valuation, and also we will discuss about the intangible assets valuation, how the intangible assets could be valued. So, unit 4 is organized into 4 broad sections: valuation of companies of different kinds, valuation of companies in different contexts, loose ends in valuation, and valuation of intangibles. So when valuing multi-business companies that have subsidiaries, high-growth companies, cyclical companies, commercial banks, and insurance companies, the point to be considered for valuing these companies differs from type to type. We will discuss in detail about valuation of such kind of companies in our lecture sessions. Thank you.